Hello everyone, good to see everyone again. So I figured I'd start off with something here that is a little nearer and dear to me. So in case you don't know what this picture is, this map here, this map is an inset of the community I used to live in, my stomping grounds for close a quarter of a century, Ridgewood, Queens. And it turns out recently that the residents of Ridgewood, Queens have been given a grant from New York City to improve one of two subway stations. So you can see there are two major subway stations that service Ridgewood, Queens here. You got Forest Avenue over here, and you have Fresh Pond Road over here. And the local community board has received grants from the city to improve exactly one of these two stations. Obviously, they'll get money to improve the other station, but that's going to be further down the line. And the residents here, because this is their community, the residents here are sort of voting on which station that they would like to see upgraded first. Naturally, residents will want to vote for the station that's closer to where they live. All other things being equal, they're going to vote for the one that's closer to where they are. So in this picture here, what I want to do is I want to create a map kind of similar to what we had here before, to the election maps that some of you may have seen over the past month or so. I want to see who would vote for what station here. Okay, so who would vote for Forest Avenue? Who would vote for Fresh Pond Road here? Okay. So I'd like you to consider this for a bit, see what that map would look like. Try to, visualize in your mind here, what does the map look like here, okay? So I'm going to use green for Forest Avenue here. So this is going to be for Forest Avenue. And I'm going to use purple here for Fresh Pond Road. So there are specific spots on the map that will definitely vote for Forest Avenue. For instance, if you happen to live at IS-93, the middle school I went through, you're much closer to Forest Avenue or to Fresh Pond Road. That makes sense, right? If you're in Korean Square, right here, certainly that's much closer to Forest Avenue than it is to Fresh Pond Road. Anyone in this little green area that represents a park here, right? Anyone who's on Forest Avenue. So it makes sense that there's sort of like all the area to the left here is going to be closer to Forest Avenue than it is to Fresh Pond Road. So it seems like there's going to be some sort of like general zoning thing going on here. There's going to be sort of a general thing like this here, where we can say, whoops, I guess I reversed the colors. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. It seems like, I guess, so since we'll use purple for Forest Avenue, it seems like everyone over here is going to be voting for Forest Avenue because that's closer. On the flip side here, you can also have Fresh Pond Road on this side. Anyone who lives on Fresh Pond Road, anyone who's in this little, like for instance, if you're in here in this little park here, if you're on, for instance, Catalpa and Fresh Pond, or 62nd and 68th, it's pretty natural that you're going to vote for Fresh Pond Road, because that's closer. So we have, very similarly, this thing here. So that takes care of both sides. So intuitively, right, if you're to the west of Forest Avenue here, you're going to be close to Forest Avenue than you are to Fresh Pond Road. And similarly, if you're to the east of Fresh Pond Road, you're going to be closer to Fresh Pond Road than you are to Forest Avenue. But now we have to worry about the sort of neutral zone in between. What's this going to look like here? Now, let's consider this here. It seems natural that if you lived on the subway track, right, if you had an apartment that was directly on the subway track, or very, very close to it, it seems natural here that's, it's a straight line, it's a straight shot between Forest Avenue and Fresh Pond Road. And the midpoint of that segment would be somewhere around here. So let's call this point here M. If you're living at that point M, it would seem that it doesn't matter which one you vote for because because you're the same distance away from both Forest and Fresh Pond at the same time here. However, note that if you're on the segment here, it seems like if you go to the west, you're close to the Forest Avenue. So it seems like there's a purple thing over here. So if we look at this line segment here, between Forest Avenue and Fresh Pond Road, right? It seems that anywhere, if you're on this side of the segment here, it seems like you're going to be in the purple zone, and this side of the segment, you're going to be in the green zone here. So it seems like the purple and green zones are going to sort of come up a butt on top of each other, but there's going to be some sort of like neutral territory, some sort of neutral boundary, right? It's almost like a border between two countries on a political map, where you have those places will be exactly the same distance away. So we can actually continue this here, draw the map, kind of do this here, and then do this here. So eventually, you're going to get something that kind of looks like this here. And then you can see sort of a neutral boundary like this here that kind of straddles this. And you can see that on the left-hand side here, to the west of this neutral boundary here, you're closer to Forest Avenue, you're in the purple zone here. Whereas to the right-hand side here, like this, you're in the green zone. That's closer to Fresh Pond Road here. And this black line, this black dotted line that I've constructed here, seems to be sort of exactly halfway in between. Okay? So, you know, the fact that we have this sort of a boundary thing like this here is no accident. We're actually going to investigate what that means later on here. So I'd like you to consider this for a bit here. Your map should look something similar to this, even if it's not exactly like this here. It should look something similar to this. And again, I'm not using any tools here, so you'll have to forgive that my picture is a little bit off, but you get the picture here, okay?